go off with her. And we're back on track. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Stalk by GiGi 101. So today is Tuesday, which means I usually give you a review of Pretty Little Liars, but since Pretty Little Liars is on hiatus, I will be giving you a review of the Netflix original show Fuller House, which is a spin-off of Full House. As per usual, all my previous reviews of anything that has to do with Fuller House will be linked in the description box down below. So this episode is called Mad Max, and this episode is centered around mostly Stephanie and her relationship with her nephews, as well as her life. So the episode starts off with Stephanie being in Max's room, and they're practicing Max playing the trumpet. They were doing Old MacDonald How to Farm, and at the end, Max was like,
"Dude, you don't need to lie to me because I know that I suck."
So Stephanie was trying so hard to convince him that, he didn't suck, that he would actually just do really well. But Max already knew, no, brah, no, I suck. So Stephanie had a scarf around her neck, and she said, "You know what, Max, I didn't want to tell you this. I didn't want it to come to this. But since it has, this scarf is magic." And Max is like,
"What?"
And she's like, "It's a magic scarf. It helped me get over my fear and make me brave when I did my first DJ gig." Well, DJing gig, I should say. So Max put it on, and she was like, "See, try it out." And of course, he still sounds horrible, but he had this confidence now that he could actually play. So that's all said and done, and everything is fine. And Stephanie goes into the kitchen to feed baby Tommy, which is the youngest of the three. And the doorbell rings, so she screams out, "Can someone get the door? I'm trying to feed Tommy." So in comes her eldest nephew, and he's like, "You have a visitor, she's hot and she's British." So the girl walks in, and she's like, "Of course I am." And she's like, "Oh my God, Stephanie, what happened to you? You're part of a cult." And Stephanie's like, "What? No, I just do laundry and housework, take care of the baby. I've got mommy and me classes." And she's like, "Oh, yeah, what happened to my life?" So anyway, her friend convinces her to go off and come with her to Coachella. And at first she was a little apprehensive, but then her friend coerced her into going, and she was like, "Fine, I'll go." So she goes, and as she's leaving, she's like, "DJ, are you sure I'm not leaving you in the lurch? Are you gonna be okay?" And DJ's like, "Yeah, you're completely covered. Don't even worry about it." And off they go. So while they're off, DJ's like, "Well, I've got Max's recital. I need someone to babysit. Ramona, can you do it?" And Ramona was like, "Of course." And she was like, "Okay, well, I want to pay you." And she's like, "Okay." So Ramona is like, "Boom, I am babysitting because I am Ramona." Ramon. Thumbs up if you know a movie that's from. Ramon. Anyway. So DJ's off at Coachella, and she's partying up with her friend. Ramona is doing pretty much YouTube, vlogging her life and vlogging her experience as a babysitter. And while she's changing Tommy's diaper, she flushes it down the toilet, which I don't really know how, at the age that she is, how she thought that even made sense. Oh, yes. Let me just back up a little bit, because before all this happened, Kimmy had, put DJ on a dating site and told people that she was a neurosurgeon Victoria's Secret angel. And Kimmy leaves, and she actually was going through, preliminary interviews for DJ dating, a guy offline. So all that happens. So while Stephanie is at Coachella with her friend, the DJ had decided to, body surf or whatever. And he got dropped, and it was very ironic because his name was DJ Can't Be Broken or something like that. So the irony of that was pretty funny. And they dropped him, and of course they needed DJ to play. So now DJ gets to play at Coachella, but she has the magic scarf, and DJ FaceTime Stephanie, and she's like, "Dude, you have the magic scarf." And Stephanie's trying to really convince Max that he can go, because Max was refusing to go do his recital. So what she ended up doing was like telling him, go ahead and play. She stopped, and mind you, she's like live DJing. So she stops all the music and she starts singing Old MacDonald Had a Farm and let Max do his part of the trumpet for each part of the song. And, you know, at first, like, people are like really confused and they're like, what is happening? And then she got them to chant his name and it gave him the biggest boost of confidence. And she's like,
dude, you just played at Coachella. If you can play at Coachella, you can play in front of like your second grade class. Bruh.
so he got his confidence back and it's like, huzzah. So after they played and everything was awesome. Her friend wanted to like jet set off to Italy for George Clooney's birthday, and she was all set to go. So now it goes kind of back, and while all this is happening, Kimmy finds someone for DJ that passes the approval, but what they don't, it's kind of like miscommunication because DJ has to deal with the stopped up toilet, and she's on the phone with the people like, you told me that like my plumber was going to be here in 2 hours and he's not. So she goes into the living room and there's the guy, which she thinks is the plumber, but it's actually the guy that like Kimmy had picked out for her. And she's like, come on, let's go. And there was a huge miscommunication because she's saying, like, because she thinks that he's a plumber, so she doesn't feel like she needs to say, oh, like, you're a plumber, come fix my toilet. She's just like, come on, let's go upstairs, I need my pipes cleaned, da-da-da-da. And he, not knowing that that's what she's talking about, is thinking that she just wants, like, a hookup kind of a deal. So they go upstairs to the bathroom, and he starts taking off his shirt, and she's like, what is going on? Like, what are you doing right now? And he's all like, well, I figured since you want to go in the bathroom, you want to start in the shower. She's like, no, I want to start on the toilet. And he's like, well, all right. And he starts taking off his pants, and she's like, what kind of a plumber are you? And he's all like,
I get it. I'm a naughty plumber.
she's like, what? And then in walks Kimmy with the actual plumber, and that was pretty hilarious. But the really, like, heartwarming scene, because I feel like Full House, every episode had a very heartwarming, very serious moment in every episode. And that was something that Fuller House was completely lacking up until this episode. So DJ's putting Tommy down, and in walks Stephanie, and she's like, dude, what are you doing? I thought that you were going to be going to Italy. And she's like, I was, but pretty much, like, she just missed her family, and she was upset about the fact that she missed Max's first recital, and she didn't want to miss anything else, like Tommy's first words, or the oldest son starting to date, which DJ was like, yeah, he's never dating. Okay, amen. And then all of a sudden, like, it got, like, super uber serious. And DJ's like, Stephanie, what's wrong? And she's like, nothing. But she starts, and she starts crying, I guess. Like, she didn't start crying, but DJ was like, no, it's in your face. What's wrong? You can tell me. And then she starts crying, and she's like, I don't feel like talking about it. And DJ's like, Stephanie, what is going on? Like, and even, like, as a viewer, I'm like, wait, what? When did this get so serious? What happened? Why is Stephanie crying? And come to find out that Stephanie found out while she was DJing in London that she can't have children because DJ had made a comment saying, oh, you're starting to feel the motherhood vibes. And that, like, brought into Stephanie's mind that, oh, I can't have kids. And, you know, she started crying, and then DJ started crying, and she was like, well, my kids are your kids, so, you know, blah, 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 blah. And she was like, why didn't you tell me? And she was like, because at the time that I found out, you just lost your husband, and you were going through all these changes, and I didn't want to be, like, an add-on stress. And on top of that, at the moment that I found out, I wasn't thinking of starting a family, so it kind of really didn't hit me until being here and being around, you know, your kids and realizing that this is something that I'll never be able to have. And, like, she's crying, and they're hugging, and it just got so intense. I'm not gonna lie, my eyes watered. I don't know if it's because I'm a female going through some hormonal issues currently, but, like, it was immensely sad because I love Stephanie, and, like, I don't want to see Stephanie, like, be upset or have serious problems. It's Stephanie. So, I mean, that was really, really sad. But it was really sweet and really tender. And it really felt like watching Full House when you saw Stephanie and DJ have that exchange. That was definitely the best part of, you know, the episode. And then everyone comes in and they're like, Stephanie, like, hey, why are you crying? And she's like, oh, I just am upset that I missed your recital or whatever. And yeah, they all hug. And of course there were other things that went on, but like they weren't super main focus of the episode. But this episode by far has to be probably my favorite episode because it felt like, again, a show that was standing on its own. But in that episode, because like when you watch Fuller House, it still feels like, especially when you see Kimmy and DJ interacting, they still seem like those teenage girls from Full House, which to me is kind of annoying because they're supposed to be older and more mature, and to a certain extent they don't seem like they've matured so much. Like they seem like the same exact character. Like I don't know if the writers really knew how to write their characters to still have the same personality but to be older. And I felt like I just wasn't getting that from that show up until this scene. There are certain scenes, you know, where DJ does seem to be older, but, you know, and even Kimmy. But for the most part, it really does feel like Kimmy and DJ are, like, the same as right as the show was coming to an end when they were teenagers. But I definitely did like this episode. Yeah, I said it. I like this episode. Sue me. But yeah, so that's all for this episode. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and share because sharing is caring. I post videos for sure every Sunday and Tuesday. Every video that you get that are not on those days are just a special surprise for my Merpod. The GiGi Meister what? The GiGi Meister Merpod. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Loves and likes ya. Bye!